in to a version of events before he takes the next step, whatever the next step is, whether it's indictment or whether it's a referral for impeachment.
You really think Mueller might indict the president?
Well, last week in federal district court here in New York City, a federal judge at the end of Michael Cohen's sentencing said the president orchestrated and paid for this crime, the crime to which he was referring to one of the 9, to which Michael Cohen had pleaded guilty.
So you're saying the president's an unindicted co-conspirator?
Yes. I'm also saying that there's ample evidence. This doesn't require too much analysis to indict the president. The question is, do they want to do it? The DOJ has 3 opinions on this. 2 say you can't indict a sitting president. 1 says you can.
Explain the process. Can a sitting president be indicted?
There are 2 Justice Department memoranda. One says yes, and the other says no.
The DOJ has 3 opinions on this. 2 say you can't indict a sitting president. 1 says you can.
Indicted.
There are 2 Justice Department memoranda.
The DOJ has 3 opinions on this. 2 say you can't indict a sitting president. 1 says you can. But all 3 address the problem of what do you do when the statute of limitations is about to expire. All 3 agree in that circumstance you indict in secret, keep the indictment sealed, and release it the day he gets out of office. You can't let a person go scot-free because they happen to be in the White House.
So he may be an already indicted co-conspirator.
That I don't know about, but it could be because we don't know what's been sealed. And we don't know what he's been told. We don't know what Rudy Giuliani's been told.
I have never seen and heard so many stupid people, so many ignoramuses, commenting about things they do not know. No wonder the American people are confused. No wonder so many Americans think the president's going to be indicted, or that he's an unindicted co-conspirator, or that he's violated campaign laws. Because they get this garbage, this propaganda day in and day out by people who are former prosecutors, former judges, lawyers. Ladies and gentlemen, former prosecutors, former judges, and lawyers are a dime a dozen. Some are brilliant, some are as dumb as rocks. And it just so happens, the more outrageous the comments they make on TV and radio, the greater likelihood they'll be on Mediaite and Drudge and other places. So they make these over-the-top comments. One guy's going on and on about how the president is an unindicted co-conspirator.
Michael Cohen had pleaded guilty.
So you're saying the president's an unindicted co-conspirator?
Yes.
The president is an unindicted co-conspirator? Now, how does this former judge know that? He doesn't know anything. It's not in any filing. Wasn't mentioned in any court. He just says it. And let me tell you folks something. We lawyers have rules of professional conduct that we are supposed to comply with. When a lawyer goes on a news program and accuses an individual as a matter of fact of being an unindicted co-conspirator, that lawyer has an obligation to cough up the hard evidence. Not surmise, not opinion. You just accused the President of the United States of being an unindicted co-conspirator. Those words have meaning. And if the Southern District of New York did that, let's see it. Let's see it. And if he doesn't have it, the news organization should force that lawyer to apologize. It's a violation of the rules of professional conduct. It is unethical. It's not an opinion program. It's a news program.
You say, as you always do, collusion isn't a crime, conspiracy is a crime, but a minute ago you said there's already a conspiracy and it involves the president. That's what you said.
That's what Judge Paley said last week when he sentenced Michael Cohen.
He said specifically what again? So
I don't know that he used the word conspiracy.
I know, but so that our viewers understand this is not speculation. This is from the writing of the court.
The trial judge said verbally, the President of the United States orchestrated and paid for this crime, referring to the crime for which Michael Cohen was pleading guilty. Now, the President...
And that is by definition a conspiracy?
Yes. Yes. The conspiracy would be the 3 of them in the room, Michael Cohen, David Pecker, and Donald Trump. Now, the president has denied this. Pecker, and Cohen have said it happened this way. The president said either I wasn't there or I don't remember or I didn't hear, but it didn't happen. Rudy Giuliani says it didn't happen. So I don't think he wants to get to that point. That would be doomsday.
Doomsday?
Yeah. That would mean that there's enough evidence to indict and try or enough evidence to impeach.
And I'm watching people. And I have to shut it off. Like this fool Jeffrey Toobin. Or these fools they drag out of the Watergate era. Now John Dean, who had his law license pulled, commenting like he's some kind of ethics expert. Or Jake Tapper, a liberal Democrat, cutting off Senator Susan Collins when she's trying to explain the campaign rules.
But I'm going to wait until I have the full picture.
There is, I mean, he is going to jail, but it's not just for that charge. But bigger picture.
All they want to do is regurgitate what the Southern District of New York prosecutors have to say. And the U.S. attorney there appointed by Trump has recused himself. Are you aware of that? All they want to do is regurgitate the leaks out of Mueller's operation. And you can tell what phony news programs these are by the politicians that they bring on. I want to challenge George Stephanopoulos right now, John Dickerson right now, Chuck Todd right now. Debate me on the campaign finance laws. Debate me on what the Southern District of New York filed. Debate me on that pleading. Debate somebody who knows what they're talking about. Notice they never have anybody on their shows who actually know the subject matter. None of the lawyers they talk to, former prosecutors, former judges, whatever, have ever filed anything with the Federal Election Commission, have ever represented a client in a campaign matter. We have Bradley Smith, the former chairman of the Federal Election Commission, who first came on this program months and months ago. Those attested to the fact that this is not a campaign violation, as have I, who've dealt with these issues before. But Bradley Smith isn't on CNN or MSNBC. I haven't even seen him on Fox. He's not on the Sunday shows. Instead, they bring either punching bags on or people who regurgitate what they want to believe. That's not news. This isn't news. Also brought up the day after the election. You could see it, that they were going to try and take out this president. Either try to indict him, quote unquote, or impeach him. And you know what? I was wrong. They started before the outcome of the election, just in case he won. That's what this is all about. There is no campaign finance case against the President of the United States. He was free to pay as much money as he wants, any way he wants, through third parties, with foreign currency, laundered through 500 different people, because they are non-disclosure agreements. And I heard one commentator say, well, except in the case of the Playboy Bunny. Well, what's the problem there? Well, it is reported, he specifically said he wanted to do this because of the campaign. So what? That's not the test. The test is whether this event occurred, campaign or no campaign, and whether settling it would make sense as a private matter. And, of course, the answer is yes. And so when the media and some of these clowns, these former judges and former prosecutors, cite the prosecutors' motions and so forth, who cares? It's not the way our system works. None of this has been put to a test. And for the 4 billionth time, you cannot indict a president while he's in office. So what's the point of all this? To smear him, to write it in a report, to try and defeat him in the next election. The real crime here is what's happened to our criminal justice system. The real crime here is you have a bunch of political rats in the Southern District of New York who could serve for life as civil servants, holding the sword of Damocles over the President of the United States. The real crime here is a roving, rogue, all-powerful federal prosecutor. They call him a special counsel. And you're supposed to believe he's nothing more than like an assistant U.S. attorney who's going to write a report, which no prosecutor is allowed to do. He's going to write a report. This prosecutor has measly convictions, measly plea agreements. He hasn't laid a glove on the President of the United States. He hasn't laid a glove on the family of the President of the United States. And all we ever hear is a shoe is dropped. A centipede of shoes keep dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping. And nothing happens. Because the media and the Democrats are building up to a crescendo on the report. A report, the substance of which will never see the inside of a courtroom, will never be challenged under due process, will never be challenged under presumption of innocence, because it is outside the normal constitutional criminal processes, because it's political.
Last week with Chris Wallace, he was trying to send a message to Bob Mueller, and that is, we will negotiate with you to have the president speak. Even though he said we won't, I think he meant we will. Trying to send a message to Bob Mueller, and that is, we will negotiate with you to have the president speak. Even though he said we won't, I think he meant we will.
You're saying no way, no interview.
They're a joke over my dead body, but, you know, I could be dead.
Do they want to speak to the President?
I do have other lawyers. I am disgusted with the tactics they have used in this case. What they did to General Flynn should result in discipline. They're the ones who are violating the law. They're looking at a non-crime collusion. The other guys are looking at a non-crime campaign violations, which are not violations. And they are the ones who are violating the law, the rules, the ethics, and nobody wants to look at them. They destroyed Strzok and Page's texts. 19,000 texts. If he had destroyed 19,000